about the way you stare into my eyes. I know that I don't make things clear.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Deasia Renee, back with another YouTube video. Before I get this video started, shout out to Sanjay Apparel for this hoodie, and go tune into my TikTok where I did a P.O. box opening of that apparel. So before we start, first things first, this is an in-between game time of the Final Four, and this is going to be my commentary on South Carolina versus NC State. So first, let's get into it. In the start of the game, Isaiah James was still on a roll. She was still hitting shots. The big post player was doing a good job on Cardoza in the first half. NC State basically was keeping up. They were keeping up with South Carolina. Sanaya Rivers, which I've been saying all year, she is her only downfall. However high she wants to go is what she's going to do and what she's going to be. And I still stand to that to this day. She still has a whole another year left. And she is going to do great things for sure. I'm sure she's going to take this Final Four lesson. And I'm pretty sure if NC State got the pieces they got coming in, different type of things, we shall see how that goes in the offseason. They could be back because Sanaya Rivers being the point guard, she would have already been in the Final Four, having that experience. I just really feel like NC State's only downfall was they weren't as experienced. And as you guys know, when South Carolina plays teams, that third quarter is very important for South Carolina. You can keep up with South Carolina in the first half, but the real key point and turning point of the game that South Carolina has had these turning points in these games is the third quarter. The closest game that I've seen South Carolina be able to play with someone and not have that such big stretch in the third quarter is when they played Tennessee in the SEC semifinal games, and they beat them by a buzzer beater that Cardoza has scored. But overall, everybody played their part in the South Carolina win. The third quarter turning point was great. We did see Raven Johnson go out, kind of hurt herself a little bit, but she had came back in, I believe. I don't believe but she seems to be okay. She seems to be walking, seems to be fine, moving around, doing those type of things. It isn't scary. She has tore her ACL before. With talking about Raven Johnson, I also want to just spread a little love towards her. Raven Johnson had tore her ACL as a freshman coming into South Carolina. She trusted her process, and if you know that what Raven Johnson played like in high school, you've seen the highlights, you've seen how good of a player she was. It seems like she's back to that happiness and that good point in her game at playing at such a high level, which is amazing and a great thing to see. It's always great to see players come back and be able to eventually get back to their normal selves, because sometimes all players are not able to get back to their normal selves after they have an injury. It can impact them mentally, physically, all throughout, and they may not be that same player or that same person that they once were. But it seems like Raven is playing with that love, that joy, that fast pace, and she also did the work. She lost 30 pounds. She was doing her job, and she is leading South Carolina as South Carolina's point guard in an undefeated season. I don't feel like enough people are giving Raven Johnson her flowers, in my opinion. I feel like she's leading this team. She's doing a wonderful job, and she is the glue to South Carolina and why they are so successful. I feel like people are talking about Cardoza, Malaysia, which Malaysia is doing great things. She is giving them impactful minutes, but I don't feel like enough people is talking about Raven Johnson. And if you see this, Raven, I don't know, good job to you. Shout out to you. She's doing amazing, great things. Seems like she's enjoying and having love for the game, and as well as leaving her impact and being the point guard and maybe bringing South Carolina's first undefeated season with a national championship. I believe that'll be the first time ever in South Carolina history, if I'm not mistaken, and she's leading them. So just give Raven more of her flowers. I feel like she should be talked about more. Now, honestly, in this game, I feel like NC State was able to keep up with them, which came to a surprise with some people. But eventually, like I said, in the third quarter, South Carolina usually turns that corner in most games that they have played. Now, South Carolina will move on to the championship game. We got to see Aaliyah Boston talk a little bit with Dawn Staley at the end of the game, you know. And that was a good moment for them to be able to have like a full circle moment. They were in this position last year and they had lost to Iowa. And now full circle moment, she's in the WNBA now. Did some great things. She's able to talk and interview her coach. That was such a beautiful and impactful moment to see in women's sports history. I don't know if we've ever seen that before at such a quick turning point. Within literally a year ago, she was in the position they were in. So that's impactful as well. But yeah, also give a shout out to Tessa. She is a freshman at South Carolina. If you watch South Carolina and you're a fan, then you know she does like Tessa Days and she talks and asks them questions and different things. But she's been doing her thing. Even in the Oregon State game, she gave them good key minutes that they needed. She hits shots. I feel like she is a very tough player. I feel like she has a lot of pieces to her game, and she is not only a shooter. When people do close out too tough, she's also able to get to the basket. I feel like she may be able to give them some, I don't know. I'm trying to compare her to a player they had before, but I don't really think she's really comparable because I feel like South Carolina has had some really good shooters, but most of those shooters, they're only really catch and shoot shooters. But I feel like she can catch and shoot at a high level, as well as she's able to get to the rim if she needs to, and she's not hesitating to get to the rim. She's like, oh, you coming? I'm just going to drive by, get to the rim. So that was a good game to see. But shout out to NC State. They did their thing this season. They literally surpassed a lot of people that doubted them to be able to get in this position. So shout out to them and their players, and they found a way. I feel like NC State is one of those teams that found a way, which I felt like in the beginning of the season, I'm like, they could be so much good, so much better. I feel like even then they did a great job. I feel like it's still a lot of heights for people to reach, like Sanaya Rivers. I feel like her ceiling is so high, and I feel like she's not even close to touching that ceiling, in my opinion. She might not even reach her ceiling in college, which that's a great thing for WNBA scouts, but I just feel like she could have like a Magic type style game. She's such a long, lanky point guard, and at times she has got way better at knowing when to score and when not to score. And that's what I was saying in the beginning of the season in my videos, like she was struggling a little bit to know when and when not. But coming down to the end of the stretch, she figured that out. And so, shouts out to NC State, them getting this win. This is the end of this video. I'm about to watch Iowa versus UConn. I'm going to upload this right now. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tune into my next video that's going to be coming up right after the UConn versus Iowa game. We will get those game results in about a few hours, and I'll be back on your screen with my Sanjay apparel. So please don't forget to tune in. I'm going to link this hoodie and this sweater below, and make sure I put my socials and stuff. Peace.
It's not that I don't want you here. It's something about the way you stare.